Well, hey, folks, from the misty hills of Transylvania to the vaulted halls of Bran Castle, a place that's often called Dracula's Castle, let's slip behind the myths and into the psychology of how fiction can become more believable than the realities around us. Now, I've been wandering through medieval Romania, reflecting on how author Bram Stoker's imagination, backed by centuries of storytelling, and this little place, a little tourist magic, turned Bran Castle into one of the most recognizable landmarks in horror history. Now, even though Vlad the Impaler never lived there where Dracula's castle is, he did live here, and I hope that you enjoy this fun and thought-provoking look at how legends form, how stories shape fear, and how the world of true crime myths often obscure facts. So from Dracula's fangs to modern-day predators, the question really remains the same. When do the stories stop entertaining and they start rewriting reality? Hey, welcome to Profiling Evil, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm here in Sighișoara, Romania. Hit that like and subscribe button and make sure that you're sharing profiling with all your friends. Now, I'm checking in from the eastern hills of Europe, where the legends are thicker than the morning fog. And the castles, well, they seem to whisper from the cliffs, even including right behind me. You know, I couldn't resist swinging out by the Bran Castle and checking out the place that the world loves to call Dracula's Castle. And now I'm here where he was living, Vlad the Impaler. I snagged a few Halloween trinkets for my grandkids while we were wandering through the medieval Romanian town here. And before you picture me in some kind of a black cape dodging bats, let's just go behind the headlines and the folklore. Because Bran Castle is perched on a rocky hilltop overlooking the small town of Bran near Brașov. And it's stunning. And I'm just northwest of Brașov. This thing was built in the 14th century, and it served as a fortress to protect Transylvanian borders and collect taxes on passing merchants. Now, the locals are going to proudly tell you that it's not actually Dracula's castle where Bran Castle is. That hasn't stopped tourists from flooding in from all over the world to see where the infamous Count Dracula might have lived. You see, Bram Stoker never set foot in Romania when he wrote his book. But when he wrote Dracula back in 1897, he crafted his villain using a patchwork of European folklore, historical rumors, and sheer imagination. Now, his castle in the Carpathians wasn't based on any real place, but when people saw Bran Castle's turrets, an eerie silhouette, they said, "Holy cow, that's got to be the place." And just like that, fiction found its fortress. Now, here's where it gets really interesting for those of us in the true crime community, you junkies out there. This is how a myth gets repeated enough and becomes accepted as facts. People started connecting the dots between Stoker's Dracula and Vlad the Impaler, the guy that lived right here, the 15th century Wallachian ruler known for his ruthless punishment methods. Now, Vlad, whose real name was Vlad III Dracula, never lived in Bran Castle. He fought battles in the region, yeah, but history and horror got tangled up in the same cobweb. Now, it's said that he was there as a prisoner for 3 months, but before long, travelers were booking flights to see Dracula's castle, not realizing they were walking through a castle that had more to do with medieval customs officials than blood-sucking vampires. But hey, perception is reality when we're storytelling. And that's where this thing gets really interesting. It's something that we see in true crime all the time. I mean, think about it. The world of true crime We've seen how narratives can kind of overtake evidence. Really becomes important in this discussion, because when rumors spread, when courtroom theatrics overshadow cold facts, when people craft their own villains and heroes, it's easy for fiction to creep into reality. We see it in the courtrooms today when defense attorneys might spin a story. We see it in the public opinion when social media decides who's guilty and who's innocent before a jury ever hears the evidence. We even see it when killers like Ted Bundy or Chad Daybell try to rewrite their own histories, turning themselves into tragic characters instead of predatory human beings. Now, the legend of Dracula is kind of fun, but when similar myths creep into real cases, lives get destroyed. You know, standing in Bran Castle's great hall, surrounded by all of the ancient armor and flickering candlelight, made it really easy to imagine the monsters of legend stalking. People stalking these streets and corners. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Our modern monsters don't hide in castles. They blend in. They're your neighbor, your coworker, church leaders. Sometimes they might even be family members. And that's what we try to do here at Profiling Evil. We try to peel back those masks and look at the behaviors, not just the costumes. So as I pack up my Dracula coffee mug and a bag of Halloween gifts for the grandkids, I want to just pause and maybe smile at the irony of places like this, Bran Castle, Sigishwara, Dracula's castle. It doesn't matter. The story becomes stronger than the truth when we continue to tell a lie over and over again. And that's exactly why I love studying human behavior. Because whether we're talking about vampires or violent criminal offenders, it's the stories that we believe that shape what we fear, and sometimes what we miss. So if you love digging into the psychology behind real monsters, you know, the human kind of monster, visit us at profilingevil.com and make sure that you're subscribed. And go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to Profiling Evil there so that you get more crime insights, case analysis, and a few haunting stories from the field. Hey, I'm here in Sigishwara, Romania. Thanks for your support of Profiling Evil. Make sure you're checking out my book, Wolves in Sheep's Clothing, where I explore this predatory behavior and talk about some of the myths and some of the realities. Hey, thanks for your support of Profiling Evil. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.